Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Point and Click Adventurers podcast with myself, TurianShepard, and my co-host, who will be over here somewhere,
Either side.
YakWaxLips.
Yeah.
If this is your first time here, welcome. Thank you for joining us. As the name would suggest, this is a podcast all about adventure games, and we go into things like the latest adventure game news, interview developers, artists, voice actors across the genre, and we have a special topic which we cover in depth in every episode too. So, Michael, do you want to share this week's topic with everyone?
Sure, I absolutely will. If you tuned into episode 1, you might be expecting a deep dive into the years 2000 to 2010 and all the adventure games that went on. However, we've changed tune a little bit since then. There's been 2 weeks past since then. So this week's episode is going to be a look at the resurgence, or rather the returning of several big IPs, namely Monkey Island, and also Ken and Roberta Williams coming back, and also a couple of days ago the announcement of a new Simon the Sorcerer. So why are these big things coming back now? Is it is it the right time? Are they going to be received well? And then we're just going to look at these 3 big IPs, I guess, and then just skirt around that subject and deep dive and see where it takes us.
Yep, that's right. But before we jump into that too much, what have you been up to in this past couple of weeks since the last episode?
In the past couple of weeks, so I started and finished a couple of games. So the first one that I did was I played Crowns and Pawns Kingdom of Deceit, which came out pretty much when the first episode aired, and I completed it in a couple of days, and it was really, really good fun. It's 3D adventure, very much heavily inspired by Broken Sword.
Yeah.
But it was really good, really interesting puzzles. Like, the difficulty changes quite vastly. I even had to tweet the developers after me playing it for half an hour, because I literally couldn't get past like the first puzzle. I was like, what's going on here? And then they made it a bit more clear, and I was just like, I'm going to try and go through without tweeting them again. And I didn't. I did. Sorry, I managed to get through to the end. Really, really good fun. It takes in a lot of real life places. The guys who made the game are Lithuanian.
Yeah.
And so a lot of the places are real places. And yesterday, in fact, I saw on their Instagram stories, they'd taken films of them walking around these real places, and you could see exactly what they're taken from. Like the church, the couple of churches that they're featuring in the game are exact replicas, and they're amazing churches. So that was really good fun. And yeah, I definitely recommend that. It's up there with one of my games of the year so far. Music's great, story's great. The only thing I'd wished, which would this is just being selfish, is it was a little bit longer. Right. Because it starts to really get into the depth of the story. It's very like historically driven, a lot of things about churches and history, very much Broken Sword like. And then it kind of hits this climax and then just stops. Like, I kind of expected it to kind of like then add another layer, but it didn't. It kind of stopped. However, they do kind of leave it open for a sequel. It is a full grown story. It's not like, oh my god, there's loads of stuff left to do. However, the heroine of the story, Milda, I think her name is, she is left open to wander the world and maybe see what comes next. So that's the first one that I've played. And what else have I played? Oh, I've just finished, actually, which came out yesterday. Again, I was given a review copy, so I managed to complete it in a couple of days, is Voodoo Detective. Have you heard of that one?
I have, yeah. I saw that all over Twitter yesterday. I haven't played any of it yet. I've actually bought it and I'm ready to play it. But it looks really, really cool. How have you found it?
Yeah, really good, really good. I only found out about this about a month ago. And yeah, mainly because the music's done by Peter McConnell, who obviously, a lot of LucasArts games, namely Grim Fandango soundtracks, one of my favorite soundtracks of all time. So that really piqued my interest. But the art style is really good. It's classic point and click. I don't mean with like the verbs at the bottom, but like the way it's structured is very much classic point and click. And no spoilers here. I won't spoil it for anybody, but it was really good. It was really good fun. Really good characters, really well written.
Okay.
And quite a lot of humor in there, but at the same time it's quite serious. I'll have a full-on review on the YakWaxLips channel at some point. Okay. But yeah, those are the 2 kind of newish games that I finished. And then apart from that, like, I mean, I think I'd finished my yesterday Origins Let's Play on the last episode. If I didn't, I'll finish that now. And just started, I know you've played this recently as well, going on the classic Broken Sword Blood Shadows Templars original edition. So yeah, it's been pretty full on with the new games. I'd like to have played more, but it's just you don't have many hours in the day.
That's it. So, growing up and being an adult takes away your time from
adult things. Yeah, you have to
you
have to cook dinners and iron and things like that. It's like, no, I just want to sit and play games. But
definitely,
alas, I couldn't. So those are and then the other one which I mentioned last time, which I haven't really picked up again, is I'm going through Fate of Atlantis, but that was all on stream, and I haven't streamed since because of my sciatica. But that's all I'll go into at the minute, because I can't sit for very long. You might be seeing me moving along on this chair left and right and getting comfortable. But so it's been a good couple of weeks of games. However, I wish there was more of them. But that's me in a very large nutshell. How about you? What have you been up to?
I have, like you said, also been playing Broken Sword a little bit, but unlike you, I've been doing the remastered versions of the first two games, which I know is highly controversial.
Yeah.
I've been told by a lot of people on those videos that you should have played the original because they changed this and that. And I mean, I've enjoyed it, and I've liked. I didn't play the original versions, so I can't really make a comparison. I liked the stuff they added in. If anyone hasn't played, there's more stuff with Nico's backstory in the first game, I've been told. Yeah. But they took out a lot of the jokes and deaths.
Yeah.
So as far as I know, you can't actually die. I didn't die anyway, which I feel like is a bit of a shame. I don't know if that was like an age rating thing, or whether it was they figured that later on people just weren't interested in adventure games where you could die, but it sort of takes away the drama a little bit for me. I don't know if you feel the same way. Have you played the remaster?
I have. I played the original when it came out a couple of times. I had it big box edition, and then didn't play it for years, and then played it again on iOS, the remastered, and I even played the Wii version, Nintendo Wii.
Okay.
And what I loved about Broken Sword is the intro, the whole Paris in the Fall, that kind of thing, and then the music, and then the cafe blows up and all that. And what they did with the remaster is they didn't get rid of it, but the start is very cold and dry, and you start as Nico, and it doesn't need it. It doesn't feel like it needs it. In terms of the death and the blood and all that kind of thing, it wasn't until recently that I found out about that, even though I played the different versions several times.
Okay.
It wasn't something that detracted too much for me.
Yeah.
As I'm going through Broken Sword, the original one again now, I'm knowing where the deaths are coming, so I'm gonna die because it's fun, and I'm gonna do it on stream on my Let's Plays to show people that you can die in these games. And I did hear an interview with Charles Cecil basically saying that they probably should have left that stuff in. It was more of a an opportunity to do the director's cut, so they did it, and so they I don't think he uses the word regret, but I think looking back, he would have liked to have added those in. Either way, they're still great games. I prefer the original, but I've played the remastered about 3 times, again mainly on my phone in the doctor's waiting room and stuff like that, and it's quite an easy pickup. But but I haven't played the remastered of the second one, or have I? No, I have. Again, it's been a while. I have, but again, only on iOS, just once. So I couldn't really pick out the differences on that, whether it's worse or better. I'm sure people in the comments will let us know. Which is worse and better.
I mean, I did do a little bit of research without spoiling things for myself, and people in the reviews on Steam seem to suggest that 2 was a more accurate version of the original sort of thing, if that makes sense, whereas they kept a lot in but just added a thing like an auto save mechanic, so that way they kept the deaths in, but if you died you could sort of just boot up an older save, which is a couple of minutes before, rather than having to reload to God knows how long it was since you saved, unless you're a Sierra player, in which case you're sort of saving every 5 seconds.
Exactly. You have a save button on there, save alarm every 3 minutes.
Well, that's it. But other than that, I've been playing Strong Bad's Cool Game for Attractive People. I don't know if you've heard of that one.
The only reason I've heard of it is because you're playing it, and I see you pop it up on your channel a lot.
That's
what is it?
It's by Telltale Games. I think it came out in about 2008, 2009. And it's based on, do you recall the strong bad emails at all that you could get sent to your email inbox?
No, not at
They were
all.
basically this really short, I think they were flash animations that were between 30 and 60 seconds long, where it'd just be a character replying to people's emails and taking the pee out of them, essentially.
Wow.
So they made it into a whole game, and each episode is a different story. And the one I've played, literally just finished, is like an 80s cop movie spoof thing where they put their own film together. It's really low budget and things like drop off the wall, and it's absolutely hilarious. Like in terms of Telltale stuff, that episode 4 that I've just finished is probably one of the best Telltale episodes I've played, full stop. And it's sort of still in that point and click style. You know, they moved over to more of like the choices affecting gameplay and story driven stuff. It's still more puzzle solving and, you know, classic adventure game feel. So it's well worth the play. I think you can get on Steam if anyone's interested. It's quite funny. It's like slapstick humor basically. So if you're into that kind of thing, you'll really enjoy it, I think.
Yeah, awesome. I'd never heard of that one. That's it looks striking. Like it looks like a old school Saturday morning cartoon.
That's it. Yeah, it's very wacky.
I mean, I haven't done anything else. Played some games. I mean, what have you got coming up afterwards? Because I mean, I'm looking at my list now and it's ginormous. What's next up?
God, something like 30 or 40 games on that list that I want to play. I do want to jump into the Telltale Sam and Max games at some point.
Yeah,
because I've heard those are very good. I've not played those before.
Yeah.
Again, there's that whole thing with they did remasters, didn't they? And I think they took out some of the more controversial jokes. You've got a lot of people who feel it wasn't quite as good as the original versions.
Yeah, I saw that as well. Like, you know, I haven't played the one that you're mentioning. I played the season 1, I think, when it came out again on the Wii.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is an argument to have where a joke 15 years ago is now, you know, very un-PC. So is it right to take it out, or does it ruin the game? And I mean, I can't speak for that game, but if it's going to cause controversy now and, you know, times change, I'm all for kind of taking it out.
Yeah.
Really, that's my opinion anyway.
And I think, as far as I know, I might be wrong on this, I think if you buy the remastered version on Steam, you also get the original version that you can download. So I mean, if you really want to play the older version, you do also get that, I believe. Yeah. Similar to, I think, what you get with Broken Sword. I think if you buy the director's cut, you get the original as well for free.
I'm not, to be honest, I'm looking at my list going, I have no idea what's coming up next. I mean, I will probably, like I said, I've just finished Voodoo Detective for a review. So, and I've got a couple of reviews still to come out. But the next one I'm going to play for review is probably Trouble Hunter Chronicles, which came out back end of last year, September, October last year. And again, I actually spoke to Kay, the developer, on a podcast I did ages ago, like a good year ago now. And it was a really interesting kind of like it was all static. So it's like it's first person look, but the art is great. And the demo was really intriguing. Like it takes you down things that are just like seems so simple. Yeah, it's executed really well. And it was on the demo was like a good 30-40 minutes long. And so that I think is probably next up for me in terms of what's next off stream and things like that. But yeah, continuing Fate Atlantis on stream when I do, and Broken Sword Let's Play. I mean, with my Let's Play, which I think you're doing the same with all the Space Quests as well, is with Broken Sword. I'm now doing Broken Sword 1 all the way through. So that I'm dead excited about that, actually, because like I say, I played 1 and 2 numerous times, but I've never played 3, 4, and 5. So that's like the plan for the foreseeable months, I guess.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I've heard that 5 is very good. I think I've heard a lot of people say 4 maybe is not as strong as the other entries, but
yeah, exactly. I think it's more. I think 3 and 4 are the lesser loved of the family. A lot of people do like 3, but I think 4 is definitely the one to I wouldn't say avoid, because I'm going to play it, but I'm not really I'm not jumping for joy that I'm going to have to play that one. But
I suppose it's similar to Monkey Island. If you have that many entries, there's bound to be one which doesn't quite match up to the high standards of the other ones, especially if they're classic games like the first 2 are so well regarded. There's always going to be one that doesn't quite reach the same level. But I mean, it'll still be fun, and I'm actually looking forward to seeing your let's plays of the first two games, so I can compare the differences between what I've experienced in the remaster
Yeah.
and what the original was like. So it's going to be, and also seeing someone who knows the game a bit better than I did, because you probably know some bits and pieces that I missed. So
Yeah, because I remember playing it for the very first time, and early on in the game, you walk into the Hotel Ubu, you have to
yes,
do something, and then you walk out, and if you have an item on you, Flap and Guido kill you, and
yeah,
it's like it's the first point in the game where you can die, I think. And as 13, 14 year old, however old I was at that time, playing that for the first time, not being used to dying because all I'd played was LucasArts games, and then suddenly
yes,
I've spent an hour trying to figure out all this, and then suddenly I'm dead. I was like,
yeah,
oh, it has a whole new kind of like layer on it, and then yeah, there's always that edge of just like, oh my god, what if I die here? So although it wasn't, saving every 3 minutes, there was definitely parts. I remember dying in Syria and realizing I hadn't saved for like an hour and a half and had to go
yeah,
through so much more. But I can see that reason why they got rid of the deaths, but for me, the deaths just added an extra layer. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how they do compare, because I
yeah,
can't really remember the differences. I think we should move on to a little bit of news now, if that's all right with you.
yeah. Of
See,
course.
we've got normally I do my trader talk stuff, which comes out every week, but I haven't done it for a couple of weeks. So I've got a massive, like, I mean, you can't see my phone there, but it's got like a list. I was saying just before we press record to Turian that normally I have my list has about 3 or 4 things on, and I have 23. I'm not going to go through all 23 because I'll cover it basically on my next video, but just a few of the big things, a few Kickstarters that are going on at the minute. There's a game called Monorail, which I don't know if you've played that before. That's got their Kickstarter just maybe just about finishing, about 3 or 4 days left.
Yeah, I've heard of that one. I don't know too much about it, but I've seen it going around on Twitter again. It's one that's on my list to take a look at some point.
Yeah, it was good fun. It's, again, choices matter kind of thing, and you can,
Yeah,
it was good fun. And then another one which I haven't written down is I think it's called Uninvited Ninja or something
okay,
Ninja pixel art adventure. They're they're doing a Kickstarter now as well. Check those out down below. We'll put all the links down below. But those are 2 Kickstarters to have a look at. By the time this podcast comes out, they might have already finished, but it's already worth, it's definitely worth having a look and wish listing all that kind of stuff. So those are the 2 Kickstarter ones, and then a bunch of games which are pretty much due to come out within the next couple of days, next couple of weeks. Nightmare Frames. Did you play Nightmare Frames at all?
I
Demo
did.
last
Yeah, I
year.
played the demo for that. It was really good. So
Super,
I've
wasn't
been
it?
waiting for that one for a long time. So I'm excited for that to come out.
That's really excited. I I haven't even written down the date. I'm just saying Nightmare Frames comes out. I think it's June or July time. So
Yes,
it's
June, I think.
pretty much soon, yeah. And then Born Punk as well is coming out back into June. Again, another pixel art cyberpunk kind of game. And Octavio Navarro's new game is out very soon. Is it today? Uninvited? It might be today, actually. Anyway, the guy who did the pixel art for Thimbleweed Park, and he's also got the Supper, and
Midnight Scenes.
Midnight Scenes. He's got if you like pixel art, you'll know who he is. If you don't, you probably won't, because that's all he does. But he's amazing. So his new game is out. So there's a bunch of news there. I'm sure we'll cover a lot of these games in depth as we play them, but I just thought I'd let you guys know what's going on in the world of adventure games, whilst I have the chance to tell you. Any other news that you've come across that I've not covered quickly?
Yeah, one I've sort of been keeping an eye on for a while is Intruder in Anticonia, which is by Aruma Studios. Back when I did a podcast a while back, I actually had Ruben on as a guest and we talked about it. And I've sort of followed his journey from his first ever free game, which was for a game jam, all the way up to like this is going to be his full release. So I believe that's out in July at some point. He hasn't given a proper date yet, but that's one about a girl who wakes up and can't remember anything and has to sort of recover her memory, basically. The demo is out there if people want to play that. So it's quite a cool concept.
I played that demo at one of the Steam festivals not long ago, and it was good fun.
Yes.
So I didn't know that was coming out soon, so I will add that to my list. So yeah, excellent. Again, we'll leave all these things down below. And I must say, before we head on to the developer interview that I did later on, mentioning Kickstarter, there is a Kickstarter for Casebook 1899, which starts on May the 31st, and you'll be hearing me speak to Gregor Mueller of Homo Narrans Studios, and later on in the episode where we talk about the Kickstarter of the game and all that kind of thing. And I don't get the name of the game wrong at all. I've cut that bit out, so it doesn't matter. So shall we move on to the meat of the subject and what's going on with the adventure game renaissance right now? Go on,
go ahead.
Like I said at the start, new Monkey Island coming out.
Yep.
Before that, Ken and Roberta Williams making remaking Colossal Cave, even though it wasn't a Sierra game, they're kind of remaking that.
Yep.
And then the announcement that there is a new Simon the Sorcerer coming out next March as well. So is it a blossoming renaissance now? Is it people jumping on a bandwagon? I mean, what's going on in the series, in the genre? Sorry.
I mean, the genre has slowly been coming back, I would say, over the last maybe 5 years. I wouldn't say Thimbleweed Park was the one that started it, but I think that was the first one that I noticed, obviously being Ron Gilbert and co, that game piqued my interest. And it seems since then, the indie scene has really started to flourish. And now, obviously, this year, all the big guys are coming back into the genre as well. And it almost feels like it is a full-on renaissance now, doesn't it, with Monkey Island? And I mean, the Simon the Sorcerer thing took me completely by surprise. I don't know if it did with you, but
yeah, I had no idea, no inkling at all. And the thing with Monkey Island is like people were always saying they want a new Monkey Island, new Monkey Island. No one was ever saying I want a new Simon the Sorcerer. Like, it's fine as what it was. It's fine as an old school thing.
Yeah.
So when that came out, I think it really took me by surprise. And I mean, there's a whole other conversation about the art style, which we've had. I mean, I kind of feel like that conversation is getting a bit dull and dry now, because we've had it with Monkey Island, and it's the same issue. You know, if it's not pixel art, people are spitting out dummies. But yeah, just the story of Simon the Sorcerer. If you haven't seen the trailer, we'll link everything down below. It's basically I'm not sure whether it's a new studio, but it's definitely their first point and click game.
Yeah,
and they've got the rights to Simon the Sorcerer. And it looks good. I think it looks fun. I think it looks like a fun game that will bring nostalgia to you a little bit, I guess. But it looks like it might be aimed more towards a younger audience. We'll wait and see. But I mean, it's the thing with me is the start of Simon the Sorcerer. Like, he finds the book and gets sucked into the land and all that kind of thing, and that's the start. Yet this new game is a prequel set just a couple of weeks before this happens, where all this magic stuff happened. So I'm not really sure how it's going to fit in with all that.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because I don't know if it's going to rewrite the start of. I mean, surely they wouldn't do that and sort of retcon the beginning of the original game. I wouldn't have thought. So it'll be interesting to see how it ties into the story, because that was the thing people picked up on straight away. I saw sort of the comments under the trailer saying, well, this doesn't really make sense. So I'm sure they'll find a way to make it work. But I mean, the art style and everything looks great, in my opinion. I know people have complained about it a little bit, but that seems to be the thing to do now, doesn't it? Adventure game comes out, it's not pixel art, so therefore I dislike this. So
and I think it was stressed as well that it wasn't just like, Monkey Island, Return to Monkey Island was announced, and then suddenly someone's like, I need to make a Simon the Sorcerer game. This has obviously been in the works for a heck of a long time. It's like it looks more or less complete. It's due out March next year, so it's another 10 months or so. So they've still got work to do on it, but which makes me bring the question, like, Ron's been working on Monkey Island for 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
Simon the Sorcerer probably been working on for about the same length of times.
Yeah.
Then you've got Ken and Roberta Williams jumping back into the genre with their Colossal Cave, and they've been working for about 2 years. So, like, do you think the whole issue of COVID has a thing on that? Or if COVID didn't happen, do you think that maybe any of these things would have happened? Because I mean, I know for a fact that Ken and Roberta, Ken basically wouldn't have done this if it wasn't for COVID, because he retired, he was on his boat with Roberta and all that, so he wouldn't have returned. But being forced to sit down for 2 years, I think it's had a massive effect, and a kind of a positive one, I guess, because we're going to get these games.
Yeah, I would say so. I think especially from speaking to a few indie developers who are making their first games or have recently published their first games, they have said that the reason they got properly into it was lockdown happened, and they were sort of sat there, whether they were, working from home, or some people here went on to furlough, where they basically didn't go to work but still got paid. And I think people had spare time on their hands and thought, well, I've always wanted to make a video game, so let's give that a go. And I assume some of the bigger guys also sat there with time on their hands and nothing to do, and went, it'd be really cool if I tried making a new game after 20 years or whatever it's been since the last one. So I think definitely COVID and the lockdowns has played into the revival we've seen. I mean, even if you look at the indie scene, really, since COVID started, about 6 months after that is when we started to see more and more games coming out, to the point now where you've got that massive long list, and there's a couple of adventure games seemingly being announced every week now. So it's difficult to keep up. I don't know if you're finding it the same way.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've always had this long list, but it just seems to be getting longer and longer, just with more games being announced all the time. And I mean, it can only be a good thing. Like, I'm really excited by it. It begs the question of going back again to Broken Swords. They've always said, there probably will be a new one. The other day they mentioned very briefly in a announcement about what was it? They were doing a charity auction for, in our next game you could be in our next game, and in brackets, that could be Broken Sword 6, and that's the first time that they've said they're not working on it, but that's the first time it's just like, oh, it could be Broken Sword 6. So obviously you've got that thrown in there as well. I think, like, going back to what you said about Thimbleweed Park is really interesting, because that was 2016, I think it was.
16, 17.
It was around about the same time that I started to get back into the genre as well. I remember getting Thimbleweed Park about, I think it was until 2018. So I was just kind of like a passive fan, if you could say. And I think a fair few people were as well. I think when that hit, it was just like, oh, you haven't seen a pixel art adventure game since the 90s. So, and then the way that I got into the genre was, I'll play Thimbleweed Park. And that was the first point and click I played since Monkey Island, more or less, even though I play Monkey Island, every year. But looking at that, I then realized, oh, actually, what's this company called Wadget Eye that also do point and click adventure games, pixel ones, which leads me on to, the next one, finding Francisco Gonzalez, and then just moving on, and then having this massive audience here. And I think with Ron, I think Ron saw that as well, even though he was working on something else pre-COVID. I think that from Thimbleweed Park, Wadget Eye, Thimbleweed Park onwards, I think the genre has grown massively, and I wouldn't be surprised at all if more old IPs started to have sequels again. I mean, something like, Toonstruck, for example. That's just one I plucked out of my head. It's beloved by people. I know and so there might be a sequel to that. In fact, Flight of the Amazon Queen, not Lord of the Temperatures, Flight of the Amazon Queen has a sequel coming out. That game was what, 94, 95?
Something like that. 95, 96-ish, I think.
Yeah.
That's a guess. It
was
something like that, wasn't it?
Yeah. And now 27 years later, there's going to be a sequel to it.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of that, I think, is people our age played their games in the 90s, and now they get to that age where it's just like, my back's hurting a bit. I need to just, rather than go out and play sports, I'll sit down and, what did I love in my youth? I love games. I'll make a game. And I think that might be a reason for a lot of these IPs showing their face again.
Yeah, I would say that's probably quite accurate. But you get to a certain age where I don't know if you felt the same way, you start nostalgically watching and playing things that you grew up watching and playing. And I think if you are that way inclined that you want to make a video game, it's probably natural to go, let me make something that I enjoyed when I was younger. Like, it can be, obviously it doesn't have to be a continuation of a well-known series, but I want to make a pixel art adventure game, or, and then it goes from there. I mean, you've got one-man band developers now coming along and making adventure games which are unbelievable. Like, some of the ones that I've played, just, you almost can't believe it's one person that made it. And I don't know if you've noticed, but the detective genre within adventure games seems to be having a bit of a revival as well.
Yeah, I have noticed that. You've obviously got the Francisco Gonzalez, what's it called? Lamplight City that you've been playing.
City, yeah.
And even like the comedy ones, things like Detective Gallo and Inspector Waffles, and they're all detective inspectory games. That's the official term. It is. Look it for the diary in the dictionary. I mean, it lends itself quite easily to point and click adventure games because it's a mystery, isn't it? So you've got to go out and find out what's going on. So again, that's something there's loads around, and there's not really that many bad ones that I've played. I think people really put the effort in to because otherwise it'd be a bit of a dull case to do. But yeah, definitely there's not much. It's either detective style games, or there are still quite a lot of like piratey kind of games out there.
Yeah, there are. Yeah, piratey comedy games seems to be the thing. But we can never have too many of those, really, in my opinion. So
no. But I mean, so we've got Monkey Island coming. We've got not Sam and Max, although we have got Sam and Max again coming.
Yeah, we have. Yeah.
Out. It's just never ending. Let us know in the comments down below. I mean, if there's any IPs that we've missed that we haven't talked about. If you don't know what IP is, intellectual property, basically like classic games. But also, is there like a certain game that you would like to see a sequel to? I have. I mean, I'm living the dream. I'm literally all I wanted was Monkey Island sequel, and I've got it. So that's me done. In terms of anything else, I'm happy to have whatever comes. What about you?
I mean, I've always, ever since I played Day of the Tentacle before I played Maniac Mansion, and I've always sort of since figured it'd be quite nice to have a bit of a follow-up to Day of the Tentacle. I'm not really sure how it would work given the way that the way that game ended, but
yeah,
it'd be cool. I mean, that is one of the other things, is that there's a lot of indie developers out there who make fan games based on. So I think there are quite a few Day of the Tentacle universe fan games out there, which sort of I think one's a prequel to Maniac Mansion.
Yeah,
and there's a couple that are set afterwards. So, and it's the same thing with Space Quest as well. I think there's 4 or 5 fan games which people have basically gone, I'm going to carry this on myself. And some of them apparently are quite good. So I don't know. I don't think there's been any with like Monkey Island or any. Well, there've been the spin-off games that are sort of Back to the Future and Monkey Island together. I don't know if you've played any of.
Yeah, I haven't played any of them, but I see the developer. I think his name's Daniel Spinoli. Sorry if I've got your name wrong if you're listening, but yeah, the whole Back to the Future Monkey Island mashup, and he does lots of different mashups. I haven't played any of those, but they're very interesting. There's also a Broken Sword 2.5 or 1.5, which is set, I believe, in between Broken Sword 1 and Broken Sword 2. It just tells the story of what happened. And again, it's really well done. They had the blessing of Revolution, and they even used some of the Revolution assets to make that, I believe. Okay. The only reason I know all of this is quite fresh in my head is because I'm contemplating whether to play it after Broken Sword, in between the Let's Plays I'm doing. And I actually thinking about it, it's the same developer who has just released the Crown of Pawns I was talking about. I think that was one that was like his fan game.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, there's a lot of love for the old adventure games, and they seem to be coming back with a flourish and with some confidence, and hopefully they're going to be good games, because that's the other thing as well. We talked about Monkey Island, Simon Sorcerer, the Ken and Roberta game. They're not out yet. They could all be trash.
They could. Hopefully not, but yeah, they could. Yeah. I suppose that's always the danger, isn't it? When you bring back something that's got such a big following, if it sort of falls below expectations, does it taint the previous entries for some people?
Yeah, that's
it's always
true.
like a bit of a sour aftertaste, isn't it? If it doesn't get well
it's the same
received.
it's the same with all media, because like I'm a ginormous Jurassic Park fan, and like Jurassic Park, I saw it. I was 10 years old when it was out the cinema. I went to see it twice at the cinema, and I loved it. I had the VHS, and I think, you know what, I think I might even be wearing a Jurassic Park t-shirt right now. Let me just have a look. I'm even wearing a Jurassic Park t-shirt right now. That's how about that? And I loved 1. I even loved 2 and 3.
Yeah.
And then they brought out Jurassic World, and I came out of that cinema angry with what they'd done to my Jurassic Park, and I hated it, and I hate it. And there is that danger that with if you hold it so dear to your heart, that they're going to ruin it. Which I kind of see where the whole backlash of the pixel art thing come from. I use the word backlash quite lightly though. It's not really a backlash, but a few fanboys shouting loudly. I can see that, but you can always just kind of, like I do with Jurassic World, just pretend it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
If Monkey Island, if Return to Monkey Island sucks, then just go, well, my Monkey Island is Monkey Island 1 to 5 as it is already. Doesn't really matter.
So it's the same sort of deal with Star Wars as well, isn't it? We won't go into the sequel trilogy that Disney did, but I know there was the same amount of sort of backlash on that, where people but some people are rational and just go, do you know, in my head, that's not canon. It finishes with Return of the Jedi, and that's it. You know, everything after that is just made up nonsense.
See, I have other opinions on that, which is probably not the right podcast to go into.
No, it's probably not. No.
Podcast, so we'll leave it there. If you want to talk to me about that, find me on Twitter. So let us all know in the comments below if there's a game that you'd really love to see come back to life, it as a prequel, as a sequel, or whatever. You know, I think it'd be fun to speculate. As we mentioned there, detective games. There are a lot of them. Like I said previously, I recently spoke to Gregor Mueller, who is releasing Casebook 1899, The Leipzig Murders. And you played the demo, I believe.
I did, yeah. I played the demo, well, depending on when this goes up, about 3 weeks ago, I think. And I was very impressed. It ticked all the boxes for me, being pixel art, detective, and adventure game, which is like it's the holy trinity for me, really. That's my ideal game. Yeah. So yeah, I was really impressed with it. And I guess, have you played the demo as well yet?
I haven't played it yet. I plan to play it over the next couple of days and hopefully have a video out before the Kickstarter starts, because this episode, touch words, plans to come out on Monday the 31st, and if that is so and you are listening to it on Monday the 31st, the Kickstarter for Casebook 1899 is also out right now. And so I spoke to Gregor for about 20 minutes or so about the game, about where he gets his inspiration from, about the Kickstarter, and other things in there as well. I must say that I've already edited it out, so you won't hear it. But I did ask him, why has he set this game in 1920, even though the game is called Casebook 1899? I felt a bit of an idiot, so I thought, no, I'll cut that out. But now you know it anyway. So there you go. Anyway, let's launch straight into that interview. And here is Gregor Mueller talking about Casebook 1899. So here on the Point and Click Adventurers podcast, we like to discuss not just old classic games, but new ones that are coming out, things that are in the works, things that have just come out. And one such game that is in the works is Casebook 1899 at the Leipzig Murders. And I have on the line with me right now the developer, Gregor Mueller. And how are you doing, Gregor?
Hi, I'm fine. It's a beautiful day and I'm happy to talk about the game. So thanks for giving me the chance.
No, anytime. I've featured the trailer on my channel before, and it got really good reaction. One from the look of the pixel art. I mean, pixel art goes straight to my heart. I love it. But also detective games are pretty big at the minute, and there's a lot of love for them. So tell me kind of about, to start off, tell me about like why did you decide to go for this game in particular? Why make a detective game?
The inspiration came from actually a book series I'm writing, and that's being published, sadly, only in German. And so I already had the characters, and I liked the characters, and I thought I could do more with them. And I've always loved video games. And so I thought, okay, here I have these characters. They might work well in a video game as well. So I wanted to give that a try. And so about a year ago, I think I started getting into Lua and the Visionaire editor, Visionaire. What's it called?
Visionaire Studio.
Studio. Yeah. And oh my God, I'm using it every day and still complete blank. So about a year ago, I made the first test, and I'm not from a programming background. I kind of dabbled a bit in Python for a while, but I'm not a programmer at all. I see myself more as a writer, but nowadays it's so easy to get into it and to do something and to create something. And so, yeah, I just kept at it. And now the first case is almost ready to be released.
That's amazing. So basically you're essentially a writer at heart. And then these characters developed so much that you thought you'd take them off. I mean, why not just write another book with these characters? Why go down the computer game piece point and click route?
I am writing other books. One just came out in February, I think, but I started, the books were started from 2 years ago, so right with the pandemic. And I won't lie, it was really frustrating because I couldn't present the book as I wanted it to be presented with the public. And so I thought I could do more with that. And I kind of like the idea of having an ongoing book series where you also can take the characters and have them experience even more and to give the people the possibility to play with them. Basically, I think I quite like the dynamic between the main characters, and that translated so well into a game that I thought, oh, I have to do that. Because, well, it's all clearer when the demo's out. So yeah,
so the demo, like you said, you just finished case 1, so this is going to be, is it a 4-case game? So I've read somewhere.
Yeah, it's a 4-case game. The first one takes about 45 minutes to finish. The others will be longer. And well, I mean, if it goes well, it might be a 5-case, 6-case, 7. Who knows? I mean, it's like what others do. It's like detective stories that are put into cases. If there's an interest, I can release one every few years, hopefully.
Yeah, it's basically you're inventing your own intellectual property to live for the next 10 years. So if it's popular, you can keep adding and yeah, just like Miss Marple, just keep going.
Exactly. It's like this game is like right between 2 books. So the second one that's already out, it's like it plays at the end of 1899. Yeah. So these are the things that happen to the characters in that time, and I deliberately also, it works in the book like it could have happened. It's like nothing contradicts from the book and the game. So
they all intertwine. They're all one. Well, not one story, but they're all, the same characters basically living and breathing throughout different mediums.
It's like if I can take a really big example, a much more successful example, it's like the Sherlock Holmes stories. It's like they're all one, but you don't need to read every single one. It's fine just to pick up one and
Sure. So let's head back to the development side of things. Now, you said you're essentially a writer. You're not a game developer. How have you found the challenges, like learning a new skill, and also on the back of that, are you doing it all yourself?
Well, learning a new skill, it's like I learned a lot of new skills with that. And I'm really happy about learning new things. I learned to do pixel art. I learned to do the programming, of course, the thinking like a game designer, not like a writer, the animations, and also all the programs that come with it. But I just love that. I just love to learn new things. So it's a hobby, really, and it's like how I love to spend my free time. The question is, I am calling myself a solo developer, but I think there's only a very few of them that are really doing everything themselves. I'm not one of them. I have some help with the art. I have help with the music. Of course, I'm the most unmusical person you could imagine. It's like I've had the wonderful Sarah J. Foster to compose a theme for the game.
Yeah.
And Julia, who made the cover art, she's amazing at drawing. And then I have like people who take the backgrounds that I do and make them beautiful.
Yeah.
And so, yeah. And then, of course, I have the German voice actors, only German, sadly. But yeah, that's how it goes. And they were wonderful. So I'm like, yeah, I call myself a solo developer, but with lots of help.
You're doing the heavy lifting. You're doing the majority of it, but you've got a few hands helping you out here and there. So yeah. I mean that's great. Now I can't not mention the fact about Lamplight City. It's going to get compared to it. You know, it's a case by case game. It's pixel art. It's a detective. I mean, how do you feel about that comparison? Is it going off the back of the trailer that I've seen? Is it a fair example? Is it a fair comparison?
Well, I hope so. I mean, it would be wonderful to me to be compared to that. And well, hopefully the people will not say, "Oh, look at that! They made it much better." No, but of course, it has been a huge influence. I look to that a lot when developing it. Not so much the art style, which is fantastic, of course.
Yeah.
But the kind of I think the player agency, I would call it. I was like halfway through the game until I realized you could actually fail the cases in that game.
Yeah.
And that was something that completely blew my mind, not knowing it. And it was like, it felt so good. It felt so rewarding that it's actually the player's own skill to solve the cases. And that's something I wanted to take for Casebook as well.
Yeah.
To really give the player the agency, but also the challenge to solve a case.
Yeah, I think that's really important as well, because there are so many like AAA games that you can play for hundreds of hours because there's so many different side quests and different things. You had a point and click adventure game, which is, 5 to 10 hours. It's very linear. It's very like A to B to C. You do this. So something like Lamplight City, where you can fail the game, it's essentially you can go back in and play it again and take different choices. And then, I mean, I've played it twice and I've still not completed all of it because there's still things, and I still think I've got to go back and do that, which I will because it's a great game. So, I mean, is that an important aspect of your game as well, like replayability?
Yeah, definitely. It's like it is. If you get to play the first case soon, you'll immediately see that it is planned that you arrive at a solution, and then you're confronted with the fact that it might not be the real solution, but you can arrest the wrong person, basically.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah,
it sounds. It's a great gameplay mechanic, which I think that it is important in adventure games these days. Now let's head back to the development and where you are at the moment. You've just finished case 1. The demo's not out yet as we record this, but you are looking to head into a Kickstarter as well. So I really want to delve into that and see. Tell us a bit about that, when it's due out and what you're expecting from that and what people can get in return.
Yeah. So right now I'm beta testing. I have some wonderful people who help me find all the bugs that are still in there. So I'm at the end of round 1 now, hopefully squashing all the bugs while not putting too many new ones in there. And as soon as that's finished, the demo, it's like, I always say demo, but it's like, I feel like underselling it. It's like, it is the first case, which is about 2/3 of how long the other cases will be. That will come out really soon. And in I think May we'll see the release of the Kickstarter.
Yeah.
So yeah, you heard Excellent. It here first.
So it's games can live and die on these Kickstarters. There've been several that are looking really promising and then they didn't hit it, and so that's the end. I mean, is that the case with your game? Have you got backing elsewhere, or or is this going to just help you across the line, or is this kind of like a big chunk of what you're gonna, your future essentially?
Yeah. I mean, I mentioned that I'm doing this in my free time. This is not my job, as so many indie developers do it. It's like my little baby. And other than writing, that's a big difference with writing. It's like, for writing, you don't need anything. You need a pen and paper and some time. But game development, I learned over the last year, is really, really expensive. And because I need help, I need the Kickstarter to be successful. And there's definitely a possibility that it fails, and then we will not see the full game. But it would be sad, of course. I would love to work on this game more, but that's why I decided to make a complete first case as for the demo, because if it stands on its own, I would be fine with that.
Yeah.
Okay,
cool. So Kickstarter in May, you'll just finish case 1. Let's say, touch wood, everything goes well, Kickstarter's funded. When are we looking at the release?
It's 2023, yes, but I'm looking more at the end of 2023. So maybe a Christmas release, something like that.
Awesome.
I want to be realistic. I even if the Kickstarter is successful, I can't make this my full-time job, so I have to do it on the side. And a lot of the writing's done for the other cases, but I still need a lot of assets, and it's all an ongoing process. So.
Excellent. So the Kickstarter page, although it's not live as we record this, it's up there, ready. Is it? Can you follow you guys? Follow you yet?
No, I think the best, but that's got to change in the next few days. The best way to follow me is probably through Twitter right now. So you can get all the updates, and But the Kickstarter page is almost ready. I just need the video, and then we're good to go.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm happy. I'm really excited to announce the beautiful things I thought up as Kickstarter rewards. That was a really fun process, because I think as a writer, as a game maker, and even as a Kickstarter, I don't know what you call it, hopefully funded person one time, I tend to do the things I like, and so I really hope that this Kickstarter will get funded, because I want to have the nice physical rewards of the Kickstarter for myself.
Yeah.
And it's like, I need the excuse to make them.
Yeah. So if it's only been funded by a couple of dollars, and you've still got thousands to go, just throw all the thousands yourself, just so you can get the things, because the things are what people, particularly adventure game players and that, the things behind the cushions and the models and all that kind of stuff, it is a big part of what people want. And so I'm excited to see hopefully, touch wood, that it'll be complete. Like I say, as this is recorded before the Kickstarter is out, I will make sure that all the links are out there when it is ready to go, and promote it on your behalf as much as possible, because I get a lot of demos and trailers pushed my way, and yours it really stood out. I really like it. One, like I said, the pixel art is great. I really enjoy pixel art, and the setting and the theme, and the fact it reminded me of Lamplight City, which is one of my favorite games of the past 5 years. So it ticks all of my boxes. So what I'll also do as well is we'll get you on as well when the game comes out, because I'm fully confident this Kickstarter will get funded. So in 18 months or so, we'll bring you on again and see how the process has aged you, and and see how it is then, if that's all right with you, Gregor.
Hopefully. I'm looking forward to it.
Awesome. So if you want to follow you, the best place, you say, is Twitter. And then you do have a website. I've checked out the Homo Narrans website. which has a few bits on there.
Yeah, but just the trailer, some screenshots. It's like to get the regular updates. Yeah, I mean, you can sign up for a newsletter as well to get informed. I don't like to spam people. It's like I want to give them just a few updates through the newsletter. So the important ones, like Kickstarter's live now.
Yeah,
and Kickstarter's funded, hopefully.
At
the end of May.
Cross our fingers and hope that everything goes well for you. Well, thanks for joining me here on the Point and Click Adventures podcast, Gregor, and good luck with the Kickstarter. And hopefully, I'll see you back in a year or so, and let's see how it goes.
Thanks for having me.
Cheers. Take care, mate. So that was Gregor Mueller there talking about Casebook 1899. I'm super excited to start the demo, and go and back it down below. I'll leave all the links down below in the description to go and back it. So, what do you think about that interview then? My first solo endeavor.
I was impressed. Yeah, he did a very good job. But it was nice hearing from Gregor about his game, and actually the influences. I've never really come across a dev that I've spoken to or seen an interview of where they've come from a background of writing and then moved into video game with the same set of characters from the writing universe. I think that's a pretty cool idea, actually. I don't know what you thought about that.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's a really cool concept. It's one of those where it's like, it doesn't matter what medium it's on, it's across the board. So I imagine the books, although unfortunately they're only in German, you've got the books and then you've got the game. There's no reason why you can't just like carry on, add a comic book in there or something, or a film. That's a bit of an undertaking, but do you know what I mean? It's basically the same cast of characters, different cases, and I'm really excited to delve into this. And it reminds, like I said in the interview, it reminds me a lot about Lamplight City, which is no bad thing, because Lamplight City is awesome. And I really like the idea that Gregor has taken on, that if you get something wrong, it doesn't matter. You just carry on. The same as what Gundislav Games did. So yeah, I'm very, very excited about this game. I think on Steam it says it's out this time next year, but in that interview we just say the back end of next year. So there's still a way to go yet, but you can play case 1 out of 4 right now, which I'm excited to do.
Yeah, and I quite liked when I played the demo. Actually, it's all in German, but you can put English subtitles on. So I quite like that. I don't know about you, but I don't mind playing a game in a different language, especially because things can get lost in translation. So similar to when you watch like a movie, if it's in a different language but has the subtitles, I think it was a bit weird. Like for the first 10 seconds, trying to read the subtitles and listen to the dialogue was a bit like, oh, like my brain's a bit all over the place. But I fell into the rhythm really, really quickly, and it works so well.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to play that to experience it. But yeah, I watched the majority of your playthrough actually, and I'm excited. I'm just it like you said, it ticks all of my boxes as well, like pixel art and based in not 1920 but 1899, and it being a detective, and those of it makes me salivate. It makes me go, yes, this is exactly what I want right now. I'm excited to start it.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Hopefully that'll be fully funded. Go on.
Yeah, so it's pretty cool as well to hear that he's potentially open to the idea of future episodes as well. Like almost like a Sherlock Holmes type thing he was saying, wasn't he? Where you can have separate stories that work on their own, but you can also play them as a series. I think that's a nice little. So you can just like add on cases as you go if it does well, which it's quite exciting actually.
I think it's great because it's one of those where an adventure game, once you've played and you leave it and you very rarely come back to it. But if you're invested and go, that was fun, and then suddenly something else comes out, it's like the Dark Side Detective cases. Like you just add another one and another one and another one. It's like, and then they work on the next big game, and so in waiting for the next big game, you've always got these other things coming, and it's a really good model to work on, plus the books on top of that. So yeah, I'm really hoping it does well for him.
Yeah, I think so. It's nice to see him looking long term as well with that, because I know a lot of devs are like, well, short term, but he's got all these ideas. So I really do hope it pans out so we can see it come to life.
Yeah, me too. Good luck there, Gregor. And like I said, all the links down below for the Kickstarter and the wish list on Steam and the demo as well, so everyone can go and play it and go and tell them how good it is.
Yeah, leave a review.
Yes,
That's the big
leave a
thing, isn't
review.
it, for Steam? I think I've been
It is.
told for developers, if you leave a review, it really helps boost their place in the algorithm.
I think so, yes. That sounds about right. Okay, guys, thanks very much for listening to the second episode of the Point and Click Adventurers with me, YakWaxLips, and my good friend TurianShepard. We will be back every other Monday, that's the plan at the minute, to talk about adventure games and anything that's involved with them. If you are making an adventure game and want to feature on the show, drop us a comment below or email me or Turian. We'll leave all the links down below in the description. Like I said at the start, we're all available on Twitter and we're always there. Probably too much, to be honest. And yes, you don't have to be a developer either. If you are a voice actor or a pixel artist, or just not necessarily pixel artist, that's me being biased, an artist, anyone in the adventure game industry, it'd be awesome to get you on and just talk about different aspects. Yeah. So from me, YakWaxLips, and TurianShepard, you everyone have a wonderful couple of weeks, and we'll all see you soon.
See you soon.